Hey there, this is Kat here. I am live. Woo! So today, before I get into my topic, sorry, in case this is the first time you're catching me live, I'm Kat Ramirez, CEO and founder of hashtag Social Buzz and Advertise, and we help businesses stand out and grow. Woo-hoo. Okay, so I ran into a client. Um, this week, or not this week, really, last week, who is creating a new company. So, a startup. And they were talking to us because they were interested in us helping them out. And one of the topics that came up in our conversations was, well, Kat, what do you have in place to protect our information so it is proprietary? And I get that because when I first started my business, I was the same way. I was like, how am I going to protect it so that people don't steal my idea or my thoughts? And especially with my, if you guys know, my side hustle, golfing buddy, I was super protective with it as well. I still am. And so I want to talk about some things that you can do and put in place, and some expectations, and then other things that you can do to help protect you in regards to proprietary information or your business, or when you're sharing information. This doesn't just apply to marketing and advertising; it actually applies to anything. Because you want to make sure that you are in partnerships with people that are going to respect your information. They're going to keep it proprietary to you and their relationship. And they're not going to do anything adverse with that information because, at the end of the day, there has to be a sense of trust and respect and, some um, normal, just good ethics and good morals of not sharing information because you're going to have a higher regard for them because they're a client. And I have my sweater on today because it is chilly here in Wisconsin. It's going to be in the 50s later today. So all day it's been like really, really chilly in the 60s. And so it's a little chilly today and it's a little unexpected. So if you are seeing me all bundled up, it's because I'm a little chilly today. Anywho's, let's talk about some things that you can do to protect yourself. And let's say hypothetically, you're a startup and you're like, I'm ready to put myself out there. I'm ready to start to get, clients and a new, customers and what have you. And, you're going to be managing my stuff and I'm going to be giving you logins and you're going to be able to see the back end of stuff and things like that. So there's a couple of things that you can do to protect yourself as an organization. And one of the things I listed on the notes is you can have the people that, or the representative of the company that you're working with, sign a non-disclosure agreement. So what is a non-disclosure agreement? A non-disclosure agreement is a mutual agreement between you and your client. And basically, it's protecting your client and all the information that they're sharing with you so that you don't share this information or try to use the information to gain any type of leverage or to try to make money off of it. Okay. So, this is really important because, again, there's a lot of assumed protection when you are working with a business, especially a professional business. So, like when you work with a financial advisor, there's a lot of assumed protection that whatever you share with them, they're not going to share with other people, right? Because they're your financial advisor. Okay. When you work with a mortgage person, there's a lot of assumption that they're going to hold your information proprietary and they're not going to share that with people or other businesses and things like that, right? Because they're professionals. The same would be with like a business coach, right? Like whatever information that you share with them, it's their responsibility and it's assumed they're not going to share that information. Otherwise, that will jeopardize their credibility. In fact, that will jeopardize anybody's credibility. If you're in a business where you get confidential information, then it's your responsibility. And when I say your, not you as the client, but your the person you're partnering with, the person you're going to engage with, it's their responsibility to make sure that they have your best interests in mind, and they're going to keep your stuff proprietary, and they're not going to be talking about it or sharing that with other businesses or other people, because that ethically that's not right. Okay, so that's why there are a lot of protection that have been created, because of the fact that sometimes assumption is not good enough. Okay. But if you think about the basic people that you work with, you think about the financial advisors, the attorneys of the world, the mortgage people of the world, anybody that you're sharing proprietary information, there is a natural assumption that they're going to keep your information proprietary, because it is the ethical thing to do or the business thing to do. So keep that in mind. Okay. So what are some other things? A non-disclosure agreement is something that can be developed between the two parties involved, and that can be created on either end. So it can be created by the person receiving it or the person giving it. Either one. The non-disclosure agreement is per se just dialogue that's created that really just outlines the agreement and outlines the fact that it says, a legal document, that you're not going to share the information that I give you, that we're going to do business and you're not going to share it. And it's just a legal doc that does that and outlines it. And so again, a lot of times with partnerships and businesses that you run into, that's just a natural business order. And so more and more startups have really revitalized a non-disclosure agreement, just for fear of someone's going to steal their idea or their business model, or things like that. And so and this business is not being patented. So that's another way to protect your business model, is you patent it. But not everybody's going to patent your business model or your business idea. So, that doesn't apply to every business. Another thing that you can do outside of a non-disclosure agreement is you can also trademark your information so that it is proprietary to you and nobody can steal it or do anything adverse with your brand or your product. Okay, so you can trademark is another thing that you can potentially do. And then there is also a non-compete agreement that you can enact, and that's probably more internal. So for your team members, I know I was in media for 27 years. I know in some organizations in media, the media company was hell bent on having their employees sign a non-compete. Okay. So with a non-compete, especially when it comes to employment, it can only stick for so long because people still need to get jobs. So just know that kind of gets on the fence of things. A non-compete basically is saying that when you join the organization, you're not going to quit and join their competitor and give them all your trade secrets. That's what a non-compete is. So yes, there is a document like that. And yes, you can implement it and you can put it into play. And it has to do primarily with your internal team, not quitting, especially like your valuable members of your team, and then stealing all your trade secrets or your clients, stealing your trade secrets or your clients and taking them to their competitors. So that's called a non-compete. And so it does have legal ramification. But again, just know that people still have to get jobs. A lot of times it just only aligns in the industry that that person is in. And this really, the non compete really is for those really nichey kind of industries, or a very high intense industry where you're getting a lot of valuable information that's where you're not going to get that information anywhere else. So it's really proprietary to that one company. So those are a couple documents that help protect your company or your strategy or your platform or idea or service or product, whatever the case may be. Okay. Because all of these apply to any type of business or startup or IP kind of proprietary information or even a solution, okay, for that matter. And so, again, I'm getting back to the subject of the topic is I do run into clients who have, and especially now, a lot of people are starting a lot of new businesses and new startups, and they really want to protect themselves from someone else stealing their proprietary information. And a lot of times when they do get into these partnerships with businesses and marketing companies and other people, whether they're to help them launch or help them with programming or help them with design or whatever the case may be, because there's so many different ways that you hire people from the outside and bring them in to help you launch your product. And so what companies are doing are really just trying to take on extra precautions and safety nets so that somebody else doesn't steal their idea and run with it and make all kinds of money off of it. Kind of like what happened with Facebook and the Dempsey brothers or whoever they were, the two twins, and they said that that was their product and it wasn't was it Mark Zuckerberg, and so that whole fiasco. And so if that had been in place when they were working together as like a non-compete, the brothers probably wouldn't be in the position that they're in today, right? But we don't think about those things when we're young or when we're creating our companies. We're thinking more about, wow, this is a great idea. This is what I can do, blah, blah, blah. And how do I get people on board and then start creating and generating it? And so that is sometimes allows for some hiccups. I'm not saying that you need any of these documents by no account. No. I mean, I was told by an attorney once, especially for patents, because they're very, very expensive. They're extremely expensive. If you haven't looked into a patent, they're expensive and they're 5 digits, just so you know. And one attorney told me, Kat, it's going to cost you more money to get that patent than it will to even launch your business. Uh, and he goes, I advise you not to. Why don't you just copyright and trademark? And I said, okay, that sounds like a plan. He goes, it's way much cheaper. And so I followed my attorney's advice and I did that. And not all of us are fortunate enough to have a very gracious attorney that's going to sway them in another direction that's cheaper for, and they don't make as much money. So I was very fortunate and blessed to have an attorney that was just honest with me and gave it to me as it was. And I feel very fortunate and thankful for that. And I am very, very thankful because, he advised me not to do that. And I didn't. Okay. But I certainly trademark as much as I can. Yes, I do. Because I do want to protect my proprietary information. I want to protect my brand. I want to protect the things that I have going on. So I do trademark, and trademarking to me is key. And it is a byproduct of having a business and having a good brand, especially if you're investing a lot of money in growing your brand. So just keep that in mind, because if you are going to make the investment in a solid brand and a solid product and whatever it is that you're going to launch or put out there, you should protect it somehow. And if it's not through a patent, because that is very, very expensive, then it should be through a trademark or copyright for sure. You will, I know I tried to do my first trademark on my own and I did it to a point and then I had to get an attorney involved. So, I would recommend finding a reputable attorney to help trademark. And I would also recommend talking to a patent attorney if that's the route you're going to go. But talk to a few. Don't get suckered into to doing a patent if it's not needed, or again, I was very fortunate to have an attorney that was so honest with me and said, "Kat, don't do it. You're going to spend more money on it, and it's not going to go anywhere." I was like, "Thank you. You are so kind." So there are good people out there. There are good people. Okay. So those are a couple ways to protect yourself. Why do you want to protect yourself? Why? And again, I'm going to talk about how when I first launched my company and the model, I had somebody sit down, a mentor with me and really talk to me. And this is why it's really good to have mentors and people on your side when you're starting a business or a product or service or whatever it is. It's great to brainstorm and throw things off of someone, especially someone who's been in a business longer and who's been out in the marketplace. And so with my mentor, when I was talking about my product, my goods and services, and talking about like patenting and on all the trademarks and stuff. And he was like, "Kat, this is your idea. Nobody's going to work as hard on this as you are. This was your dream. This is your baby. So don't feel like you have to overprotect your brand or your product or goods or services." So keep that in mind, because we tend to get to the off the cliff part where we're OCD and we feel like we have to overprotect it and put a lot of things in place in order to keep people back, so that nobody is going to indulge in our proprietary information to create or try to duplicate what we're doing. And so just keep in mind, nobody's going to know your nuances. Nobody's going to know the proprietary stuff that makes you different. And a lot of that is your passion, your drive, and your desire to make this a great thing. Not everybody has that. And that stuff you cannot find, and you can't buy it, and you can't find someone who has it, because that's yours. It's your baby and you created it. Okay. So that's what I wanted to cover today, because again, this conversation came up last week in regards to proprietary information and who to trust and who not to trust, and how do you create these partnerships, and how do you know that someone has your best interest in mind and they're keeping your information proprietary. Again, there's lots of things that you can do to protect yourself and to make sure that your partners have your best interest in mind, but you should question that and you should ask those questions. I know that we personally invested in a client portal because we do get so much proprietary information from clients, like passwords and logins and things like that. And granted, a lot of it is social media, so it doesn't really have access to other things, but it is proprietary. And so we invested in a client portal so that all that information is secure and it's safe and it's in one place. And there's no exchange of it on an email in case an email gets compromised. And, our portal is very secure. And so we invest in it and we pay enough money on it so that it is a proprietary, secure place to host and to keep all the information that we get from our clients. So that's a couple things that businesses or partners can do to, again, assure your confidence, so that whenever you're doing work or business with them, that and you have the confidence that they have your best interest and that they're going to keep your information proprietary, because it is a need to know basis. And those partners and consultants or whoever are not going to be sharing your information or disclosing your product or any unnecessary thing that they shouldn't be doing, because quite frankly, they get into the business knowing that there is a level of confidence that they should have in, you or them as an organization, keeping things. So I hope that answers your questions. Any of you who are out there who have any questions, and I appreciate you watching. I noticed that there were a few people watching today, maybe because it's a Monday, maybe because people are bundled in bed already. I don't know. If you are watching, though, definitely drop me a line. Let me know you're watching from, and if it's chilly in your neck of the woods, like it is here, or is it sunny and warm and toasty and roasty wherever you are. And let me know if you're watching the replay on this live cast. I would love to hear from you. If you know anybody who can benefit from this, please tag them and share this with them. Again, this conversation was about proprietary information. You know, how do you get started if you have a new startup or business and you don't want anybody to steal your idea? And you don't have a lot of money for a patent, or you're not sure because you've never done this before. And that happened to me. And so I learned a lot by bumps and bruises and just asking around. But I also had some really good mentors and good leaders that I worked with and talked to and surrounded myself with. And that's what you got to do. You got to surround yourself with people that have high integrity, that are have great businesses and great reputations, and that hold their clients to the highest regard, and know the level of ethical that they should, have this exclusive partnership. And it's not about, divulging all your information to other people. It's about holding it proprietary so that you have the confidence in them. That's what this conversation was about. And again, I do thank you for watching and tuning in today. Thank you so much. I'm typing and writing at the same time. Sorry. And if you have any other questions or you want to reach out to me, feel free to do so. I am approachable. I'm on every platform that you can imagine. So if you're watching me now, drop me a line and let me know where you're watching me on, because we should be feeding to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Yes. So I've been trying Twitter and I haven't had anybody reach out to me and saying, Kat, I'm watching you on Twitter. So I don't know if Twitter is effective or not. So, this is a task. I know I do get a huge response on Facebook and I do get a huge response on LinkedIn. Twitter and YouTube are not so much. Oh, look, see, Michelle says, hi, Kat. Hey, Michelle, thanks for watching. You're just catching the end of it. Sorry, you're going to have to watch the replay. So this wraps up today's live cast. And again, I do appreciate you watching and tuning in. And I hope this was valuable. And if not, or don't tell me if it wasn't, but I mean, you can, but hopefully it was valuable and hopefully you got something out of this. But we hold our clients to the highest regard. And, again, being ethical and having partnerships and holding people's information proprietary is really, really important to build the credibility that you want as a business owner. So just keep that in mind as you're running your business. These are interesting times, but if anything, we can be true blue to our clients and help them out any way that we can, so that they feel like we are holding them up to the highest regard in regards to holding their information proprietary. Thanks, Michelle, for watching. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff says, hello, nice to meet you. And yes, very insightful information. Great. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. This was a quick one. And until next time, you got this. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much.